Good afternoon, good afternoon, good afternoon, all. I told you to hang in there with me. I was going to find this video so I can share with you all what the future of our prisons are going to be like. America, and not only just America, but places all over the world, this is going to be the new place for these notorious criminals and killers. This is going to be the new place where you be spending the rest of your life for notorious criminals. This is going to be the new place because enough is enough with people wanting to be lawless, don't want to live righteously, don't want to follow the law and break the law and be crazy and insane. And they out here right now, ready to go here to CCOT. When I saw this, I said, this is a new plan that they planning for these horrendous, these notorious killers out here. These gangbangers and all of this stuff, because people can't continue to live like this. With this protest going on and everything, I thank God I know Jesus. Because this is the new living hell you're going to find yourself in. Laws are made for people to live by, and not only just to live by it, not only just to live by because you don't like the government and you want to, you want to continue to have these protests and these riots and, disturb other people's life. It's for humanity. It's for humanity. And it's getting out of control in every state, and not only just here in the United States of America. Don't be fooled, because people are starting to do these things not only just in America, in all countries of the world. That's why America is like, look, y'all got to go back. And if you want to come here and naturalize and become a citizen or whatever you want to become, that's got to be paperwork that has to be processed. Do your due process, even if you didn't leave when it was time for you to leave. See, Biden and Harris administration, I'm telling you, they set you up for CCOT to see how many criminals, not only just the criminals we got here in illegal criminals, but the criminals we got here, even here in the United States of these Americas. Even if you are a citizen, this is going to be your remaining of your life. If you don't get yourself together and stop going out here acting like you don't got any sense. And the law enforcement officers are being very good to you here right now in the United States. You want to break laws? You want to go out here and harm other people's businesses and life and do all of these destructive things? This is where you're going to find your life, in CCOT. This is the new world that is coming to you. And let me play the video. It's long, but I'm only going to get you to a little bit of the video because I can't really take much of it because it's just so, it hurts so much to see that people would rather live like this to go to hell. Because you can make your life even heaven or hell here on earth. And the only way you're going to have your peace is when you come into knowing the word of God and you're going to live righteously. So here we go, y'all.
What we're about to walk into. Suddenly, you're hit with the intense gaze of dozens locking onto you. These men described as the worst of the worst, tattooed with reminders of El Salvador's dark past. It's tense and uncomfortable. But here, officials say comfort isn't meant to exist.
There's no mattresses, there's no sheets. You've got a toilet over here for them to go to the bathroom. You've got this basin here that they use to bathe themselves. And then you can see there's a barrel of water that they can drink from.
This is a rare look inside El Salvador's terrorism confinement center, known as SECOT.
He says there's always somebody standing here in front of the cells, and then if you look up, there's another corridor with more security.
And I'm saying, once you in, there's no way out. They don't believe in giving you no phone calls, no family visits, no visits from nobody. Nobody. You get no. You see how all these men got to live together in this place for 60. If they could get past 60 years, if they live, they may get out. But that's the minimum time they get is 60 years. No minimum sentence. You don't went out there and killed, and you don't rob. I mean, just murdered. And I'm talking about notorious criminals. We're not talking about petty crime stealers or whatever like that. You stole a car and things of that nature. But I'm talking about notorious criminals. Okay? That they see no other way to help you. And you just want to just go out here and commit crimes and be a crime, terrorist or whatever. This will be your life in the end. There's no more trying to kill you to take you out of your miseries. There's no more death penalty. This will be your death penalty. You will spend the rest of your life in hell like this. Let me show you.
Personnel. Luz 24 horas. 24/7 light.
The prison sits like an isolated fortress, nestled in mountainous terrain, about an hour-and-a-half drive from the capital. Even with government officials on board with us, we're stopped a mile out.
Oh, okay. He's gonna inspect bags now too. Okay, we're clear to get back in.
Only to hit another checkpoint. Approaching the main gate, our cell signals vanish.
They want to do a full search on us before we enter.
SECOT's director, Belarmino Garcia, greets us and takes us through a rigorous security check.
Wedding ring. So this is like airport security on steroids. Anything that we're carrying with us. Móvil aquí. Okay. Anything we're carrying with us has to go there. And then there's a body scan that continues on the other side. Okay.
Shoes off. This one back on. Gracias. Once cleared, we tour the vast campus, starting with the armory.
He says they have to constantly remind themselves that they're dealing with essentially the worst of the worst, and for that reason, they need to be ready for whatever risks they might face. It's been equated to 7 football stadiums. It's almost multiple prisons within the prison. You can see off to the distance, there's 3 different rings as they describe. The far end, you have one that's 9 meters high of concrete, and then above that, 3 meters of electrified fencing.
15,000 volts.
15,000 volts.
More than 1,000 security personnel, guards, police, and military are stationed on site. Inmates are assigned to one of 8 sectors.
The director tells me the inmates, once they're inside one of these sectors, they never leave. Everything is done within, including doctors, as well as legal visits or court hearings.
Each sector.
I'm going to tell you right now, I don't care how much money they pay me. I can't work there. I'm sorry. I can't work at no prison, to be honest with you. No place where people, I fear, if I got to go in there, they just notorious killers. That's all they mind operate on. That's all they heart. Their heart is so dark and so evil.
There holds more than 24 large cells.
Roughly 80 inmates per cell, but it can fluctuate.
Most bear the markings of the gangs that held this nation hostage for decades,
Just
committing
like they doing
brutal
us
acts
now.
of violence.
Holding us hostage
gotta
with all
kill
these
people,
protests
you gotta
going
rob.
on.
You gotta do what you gotta do to survive.
You have to do those things.
Yeah, you gotta do that.
And if you didn't do those things, you wouldn't.
You wanna be a gangbanger?
We meet 41-year-old Marvin Vasquez, shackled and heavily guarded.
What gang were you part of?
MS-13.
And do you have any gang affiliations?
Yeah, I'm tattooed up.
What is this?
Crazy criminal. Say crazy criminal. Yeah, I made this clique in 2011.
You made the clique.
Yeah,
You were a gang leader.
yeah.
What is it like to live here?
It's probably not a hotel 5-star,
This is definitely something that needs to be aware for you criminals out there, for those of you who even have friends that want to be put you in this situation. And it's so easy to fall into it when you run with the clique, run with the gang. And some of them are just initiating gang members. So you got to be very careful who you start hanging out with. And let me tell you, like he's showing these tattoos tell a story. It tells a story.
But they give you the 3 times the food. They give you some programs. You go to do exercise.
Ejercicio nosotros lo podemos repetir siempre.
Some church religion programs too.
But that's limited to just 30 minutes a day. The other 23 and a half hours, they're kept inside and locked up.
For inmates who get violent with other prisoners or guards,
We're going to close the door. I just want to get a sense of... Wow.
solitary confinement awaits.
The only light you get is through this hole. They can be in here for 15 days, potentially. All right, I'm ready to get out.
Critics point specifically to the prison's strict control and isolation of inmates, calling it a violation of human rights.
The director brought up that a lot of folks will raise concerns from a human rights perspective and an abuse of human rights, that he's calm hearing that because he sees it day to day, the process they go through to maintain, as he sees it, proper punishment.
While you're cut off from society here, whispers of life on the outside make their way in.
I've heard about it, that it's a new El Salvador, it looks different.
That new El Salvador has emerged under President Nayib Bukele, who took office in 2019 and declared a controversial state of emergency more than 2 years ago. It sparked an aggressive crackdown on crime. We see that firsthand as some 2,500 police and soldiers deploy into one neighborhood.
He's going to go on through the night, or however long it takes for them to root out any suspected criminal elements.
If President Trump had to call in the state of militia for these people behavior out here, and I'm bringing this to you because this video came to me, I said, oh, so this is what's going on. These people that's funding these protesters and doing this stuff is coming from high office. All these people, they seeking them out. Just like I spoke about this morning. You don't think they out there? The police, the FBI, they undercover. And they going to find out who these gangbangers are. These notorious criminals. Because they hiding in these places in the United States. That's why we having such a mass deportation. And this is why this whole USA is turning upside down. Because this is what is in work for the future. For the criminals. Notorious criminals. So when I'm telling people to beware of going to these protesters with your liberal ideology or whatever, seek your more truth and understanding in the Lord, because if you don't, you're going to find yourself into this kind of stuff. Running out here with violence, with these police officers, and against the ICE, and against the FBI, you have no way of trying to control yourself. That you just have to be thirsty out there to be violent, to be a part of something. You're going to find yourself a part of something because you're going to find yourself right here with this people, because this is a stepping stone. This is a stepping stone for young people for the future who don't want to follow laws, lawbreakers and terrorists and crazy and deranged and loony. This is where you're going to find yourself. Let's go on. I'm not going to stay too long with this video. This is called CCOT. Okay, because people are tired of the terrorism in their countries and the way people are being, right now hostile in their homes and afraid to go out because of these vicious criminals out here. People can't have no peace in their home. These people come in their home, break in and kill them and rape their daughters and everything. This is what this big war all over the world is going on about. And before it gets to that point, at least America is giving some of these people a chance to get away from it and go and do what you need to do that is right. We will pay, they will offer to pay for you to take yourself to the place where you need to go. They not sending you there. You gotta get yourself in order. If you illegal in the United States of America, that is a crime because you're not supposed to be here. You fighting up against God, the hand of God, because things are supposed to be put in place and governed. But if you fall into the devil's trap, this is where you're going to end up in the devil's hell. Let me go on with this video.
Late last week, as the U.S. State Department lowered its travel advisory for El Salvador, citing a significant reduction in crime, it also warned that Bukele's emergency measures allow authorities to arrest anyone suspected of gang activity and suspends constitutional rights.
Hola, Juan Carlos, yo soy David.
Juan Carlos tells me he was wrongfully held for 5 months at a lower security prison earlier this year. He says the poor conditions led to an infection in his leg.
He said he was lumped in and assumed to be part of a gang, and he said in part because of how he looked. He had long hair, he said he had a long beard, and he says he has tattoos, but he points out that for him these are just artistic expressions. They have nothing to do with being part of a gang.
The Bukele administration has acknowledged that innocent people have been swept up in the crackdown, and they say more than 7,000 have already been released. They see it as collateral damage, and Juan Carlos, while frustrated with the tactics, believes under Bukele his country is safer.
Is this headquarters for you guys?
Yes.
Okay, yes.
Bukele's security minister targets gangs with an academic-like approach.
I heard you have a book. Is it true?
Yeah.
And this is a book that has the markings of gang members.
All the marks.
The minister compiling his findings from his nearly 30 years in law enforcement to help interpret gang symbols.
Wow, these 3 dots that says signify 3 things to the gang members, that they have 3 destinations essentially: jail, hospital, or cemetery.
From his office, he monitors crime reports in real time and keeps tabs on his officers in the field.
You can say, if there's a particular officer that's in an area that's in question, why were you there so long? What were you doing?
Of course.
And you can hold them accountable.
He even says the program they've built has started to incorporate AI, which can tell them
Where you have to put your police officer.
and yet most we meet seem unfazed by the added show of force.
I asked him, I said, how do you feel with all these soldiers? I mean, there's a couple of dozen just even right outside his door. And he said, no, I feel safe.
I sat next to Jorge Moran on my flight in. His family fled El Salvador's civil war when he was 3.
Just coming to the airport, you feel the sense of like safety,
Do you feel that in the U.S.?
No.
You don't?
No.
And you live in Indiana?
Yes, sir.
Jorge fully supports President Bukele, as do most arriving passengers, it seems.
And folks are actually stopping to get their pictures taken between President Bukele and First Lady.
And this would also benefit the citizens that live in this country, that they have to live every day with terrorism. This is why President Trump, go back to your country and rebuild. Because they're coming up with a plan now how to deal with these kind of problems you're having. You don't have to be tearing up, going crazy. I don't want to leave. No, it doesn't go like that. Go home. Because America, we done of you giving you our resources. We done enough for you. We got to take care of Americans now. Your country now will be able to help you whatever what your needs are. You don't need us anymore. We done gave you everything we possibly can give you. So it's now time for you to go home and rebuild in your country. You love your country. You out here waving your country flag. Why don't you just go home? Why cause all this chaos? Why make trouble for yourself? Why even get yourself in trouble in America and then have to go home and then have to deal with this?
Under Bukele's state of emergency, law enforcement have arrested more than 81,000 people. El Salvador now has one of the world's highest incarceration rates. Most end up in facilities like these, where they can work to reduce their sentences. The most hardened criminals, though, brought to Secot, where inside, a life sentence awaits.
We did bad things, we pay it the rough way, doing time.
And yet for many on the outside, the prison, now a symbol of newfound freedom, the new El Salvador, as they see it.
This is what I'm talking about. It was a longer video about this, but if you want to go look at it, CNN did a whole story on it, a whole documentary on this Sadat, with these notorious criminals and what sentences they're giving them. They're giving them no more than 60 years, and look how the conditions they got to live in. There is no mattress for you to lay on like the prisons here in the United States. You're not going to stay in. If you're a criminal here in the United States, they're not going to keep you. They ran out of their resource. They exhausted their resources with criminals here. We're not going to pay for that here. El Salvador has allowed President Trump to send you to El Salvador to see that. I don't know if people been paying attention. If you haven't been paying attention, then that's on you. You want to go out there and break the law. You want to get in the crowd with these people and then end up being one of these people like this one man who got caught up in it. He had tattoos on him and he had to spend those 5 months or 5 years or whatever he said that he had to spend there and caught an infection in his leg because it was so horrible. So your best bet now, if you don't got nothing, if your record is clean, just go to your country, reinstate your citizenship if you want to. But the best thing for you to do, don't get yourself caught up in these protests. Because these protests will get you in a whole lot of mess. And it's something that you may never be able to get out of. Because once you get in trouble, you lose your chances of ever coming back here. Your visiting rights or whatever you want to do to travel to the United States or whatever, to visit family, relatives, whatever, is not going to allow you to come through those borders. Okay? Do the air borders, because they got AI now. They know, just like he just showed you, they got AI, but they know where things are, and they got a more sophisticated technology today. They will monitor where you at and how you trying to get out of the country. This is how things are working, not only just for the United States of America, but all over the world. Because in the other documentary is other people from all other places of the world that is going along with this program, with this project of people out here wanting to be criminals and don't want to follow the rules and the regulations in the country that they live in. Here in the United States, you're going to have your freedom, but you cross that line, this is where it's going to end. Because the prison system here has not been able to rehabilitate our prisoners. Because when they get back out on the street and they let them back out, what do? They commit crimes again, and even more crimes. I'm talking about notorious crime, rape, like this whole Riley thing. This is a serious thing, that this woman was raped and killed by gang members. This thing that happened on the subway with this woman in New York, lit her on fire while she was sleeping on the train. They just came in, these notorious gang members, to be initiated or to do something real evil and criminal. This is how they get initiated into the gang. They have to kill a certain amount of people. The guy showed you the scars and everything, the tattoos on him, how many bodies he had to take, and he had to write his story and get his name. This is what this is all about. I'm just trying to bring you this information so you'll know if you got sons or whatever and they getting out of control, share this information, because no more playing with these criminals. These kids today, these young adults today, these young people today, they out of control because they let this thing go too far with the immigration. People should have been more educated. Your lawyers should have informed you about some things, talked to you about some things when you wanted to naturalize here, you want to become a citizen here. That asylum thing of having problems in your country, political problems or whatever, and you being, your family being tortured or whatever, those problems no longer sits well in America anymore, because they got their own problems right now they trying to deal with. And they tired of fighting everybody rights for everybody and saving everybody. And you see what's happening now, that America allowed all of this to get to this point. These people don't want to go home. They terrorizing America. They bringing that culture in America and everything. Writing all graffiti and terrorizing the police officers and breaking the law and throwing things and stuff like this. They not no longer going to tolerate this. No matter where you try to run and hide, it's not going to be tolerated in America. It's not going to be tolerated nowhere you go. And some want to go along because we got our bad government here. We got our good government workers here. But now it's just getting to be ugly. So with that being said, I gotta go. So you all enjoy the rest of your afternoon. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon, and I will. They saying thou shall not kill. They not killing them. They sitting them in Seacot and just let them sit there and rot the rest of their time in prison. They're not killing them. And this is sometimes how God has to send down some kind of plan for man to get things in control so people can understand what God is saying. This is horrible the way I see them blowing up and they lost control of the people. When people, all these people out here, they don't even got enough police force out here to control all of this mess. But they're gonna find a way to control it because whoever gonna get caught, it's gonna get calm. But it's a new government, it's a new turnover. We're not going back to the old ways, and no, everybody ain't gonna have it their way. It's just gonna be the way it is, and God gonna make sure it be that way. So with that being said, you all have a wonderful and blessed afternoon. Bye bye.